The administration has the nerve to dictate our procedures. It's simply part of the administration's complete stonewalling of Congress, period. Okay, so a couple of things. It's not a complete stonewalling of Congress to turn over Mueller's entire report to Congress. That is not a stonewalling of Congress. And by the way, certain Congress people haven't seen the unredacted material. So the notion that Congress has not seen the unredacted material, even that is not particularly true. Also, it is not the job of the Justice Department to be the investigators on behalf of Congress. There is a separation of powers in the Constitution, a separation of powers, which means Congress has investigative power and they can subpoena things. And the Justice Department, which works for the executive branch, is not mandated to turn over those things. This is why the president can declare executive privilege. It's why the Justice Department can point out that it does not have to, under regulations, turn over underlying materials and investigations. Can you imagine if the power of Congress extended to the ability to go to the DOJ and then ask for all underlying confidential grand jury testimony? I mean, if it extended to that, you know that Congress would immediately leak that stuff into the public sphere. You know that Congress would immediately take that stuff and blow it up. The reason that William Barr is not turning over the unredacted materials in the grand jury testimony is, number one, some of that stuff is classified, and number two, it is not the job of Congress to be able to grab grand jury testimony that is being attained and obtained by the Justice Department under threat of criminal prosecution. That's not Congress's power. Congress has its own investigative power. They've got subpoena power. They've got the ability to hold people in contempt. But they do not have law enforcement power. There's a difference between Congress and the law enforcement arm of the government, which is the executive branch. I think Bill Barr is completely right to say, I'm not turning over unverified grand jury gossip that was not included in the final Mueller report to you. That is well within his purview. The to examine Barr's handling of the Mueller report would have included an extra hour to allow committee lawyers to question the Attorney General. The Justice Department had argued it would be inappropriate for staffers to question a cabinet member, and as a result, Barr backed out. That, of course, is indeed the prerogative of the executive branch. They don't have to agree to any of the conditions that Congress sets on them, and then if it ends up in court, it ends up in court. If Congress chooses to hold somebody in contempt or impeach, they can hold somebody in contempt or impeach. There is a solution to this. If they want to impeach Barr, they can go for it. And they are talking about impeaching Barr, but again, they're doing so not even on the basis that he is now being obstructive. They're doing so on the basis that he's been obstructive in the past, which is weird, because the conversation has gone something like this. Democrats to Barr, why are you obstructing this investigation? Where is the Mueller report? Barr, it's in front of you, on the table, printed out, and in public view for everyone to see. Democrats, obstruction though. That's how this conversation has gone. It's a cover-up. This is wild stuff. So Democrats, of course, are trying to play politics with a Mueller report that did not give them what they wanted, namely a clear cause of action for impeachment, or certainly a criminal prosecution of the President of the United States. Jerry Nadler, who is deeply dishonest about all this stuff, the representative from New York, who once used to believe that the executive branch didn't have the necessity to turn over these sorts of reports during the Clinton era. He says, given his lack of candor in describing the work of the special counsel, our members were right to insist that staff counsel be permitted to question the Attorney General. I understand why he wants to avoid that kind of scrutiny, Nadler added. He is terrified of having to face a skilled attorney. The last I checked, these Congress people are supposed to be skilled attorneys, and I'm glad they're acknowledging that they're idiots now. But it is not William Barr's decision to have to sit. He doesn't have to sit in front of a bunch of lawyers who are unelected bureaucrats to grill him so they can catch him in some sort of perjury trap. Justice Department spokeswoman Carrie Kupek countered that Nadler had established, quote, unprecedented and unnecessary conditions for the hearing, adding, quote, Congress and the executive branch are co-equal branches of government. Each have a constitutional obligation to respect and accommodate one another's legitimate interests. In a separate letter, Assistant Attorney General Stephen Boyd told Nadler that his subpoena for the full unredacted Mueller report, plus the underlying evidence and grand jury information, was not legitimate oversight. The department has long resisted congressional attempts to rummage through its files, Boyd wrote. He added that Nadler had issued the subpoena knowing the department could not lawfully provide the unredacted report, that the committee lacks any legislative purpose for seeking the complete investigative files, and that processing a request would impose a significant burden on the department. Nadler says he'll hold Barr in contempt of Congress if the department doesn't turn over the unredacted Mueller report and all of the underlying evidence in the next day or two. For notes on how effective it is to hold an attorney general in contempt, you should turn to his Republican colleagues, who once held Eric Holder in contempt and then did nothing about it. And Eric Holder is now sitting out there proclaiming from his perch on moral high how terrible William Barr is. The chairman also said he could issue a subpoena to compel Barr's attendance at a future hearing. The committee had teed up the clash earlier Wednesday after a tense party line vote on establishing the ground rules, under the motion adopted by the Democrats on the committee, the attorneys for the Democratic and Republican sides of the panel would have had an hour equally divided to question Barr, but threatened to back out of the hearing if that was the arrangement. Democrats said that despite DOJ claims there's ample precedent to use staff attorneys, Republicans have jumped to Barr's defense, asserting it would be disrespectful to have anyone but lawmakers question the Attorney General. Now again, I don't see the purpose why, if I'm Barr, I don't do that. Because then I'm basically testifying in the open without the help of my own legal counsel in danger of perjury from lawyers whose job it is to create what we call perjury traps. Now, there are people out there who say, there's no such thing as a perjury trap, just tell the truth. Well, sometimes you can tell a version of the truth and people will not believe you and they will still prosecute for perjury. For example, when Bill Clinton said he didn't know what the meaning of is, that is a very lawyerly answer, for example. Well, Barr could give a lawyerly answer and still be accused of lying. In fact, there are members of the Democratic Congress who have suggested that he's lying right now, and he has not yet lied. It's pretty amazing. Well, the Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee are very upset about this, so upset that they brought a bucket of fried chicken to the House Judiciary Committee. It's pretty incredible. So Steve Cohen, who's another one of the geniuses in the Democratic House, he showed up to the hearing with a ceramic chicken and a bucket of fried chicken, which he proceeded to chomp, and then talk about how Barr was a chicken. You got it? Like he's a chicken? Like he's scared? Basically, Steve Cohen is Needles from Back to the Future 2. Pretty... What are you, Chicken McFly? Here? Steve Cohen being a full-fledged silly person.
Chicken Barr should have shown up today and answered questions. He was afraid of Barry Burke. He was afraid of Norm Eisen. A attorney general who's picked for his legal acumen and his abilities would not be fearful of any other attorneys questioning him for 30 minutes. This man was picked to be Roy Cohn and to be Donald Trump's fixer. The Black Sox look clean compared to this team. It's a sad day in America.
A sad day in America. Here's my ceramic chicken guy. Take me seriously. Chicken Barr. By the way, I'm really considering opening now, in discussion with my producers, opening a restaurant called Chicken Barr. It sounds delicious. There'd be many types of chicken. There'd be teriyaki chicken, there'd be fried chicken, there would be chicken a la king, like all sorts of chicken. It sounds great. And William Barr's picture would grace the entrance. This Chicken Barr. Yeah, I'm taking you super seriously when you say it's a sad day in America as you wield a ceramic chicken at me. Steve Cohen. Don't worry, guys. This is super serious stuff. Democrats are taking this really seriously. They've uncovered wrongdoing, so much wrongdoing that the entire report is sitting on a desk in front of them. Like right there. Then James Comey sounds off. That's always exciting. James Comey, who has spent the last year and a half, couple of years, wandering the woods, staring at the sights of nature. Sort of like Thanos after the snap fingers. He's just become a farmer. He's just out there staring at the trees and being all weird. Well, now James Comey is back from writing an op-ed for the New York Times, in which he attacked all of his former colleagues as deeply corrupt. He said, people have been asking me hard questions. People are not you, dude. Like, you're standing in the mirror asking yourself hard questions, James Comey, those aren't people. That's just you. It's okay. This is what happens to the leaders in the Trump administration, especially the Attorney General, Bill Barr, who I have said was due the benefit of the doubt. How could Mr. Barr, a bright and accomplished lawyer, start channeling the president and using words like no collusion and FBI spying? Well, first of all, he used the words no collusion because the report found no collusion, and FBI spying because spying means surveillance, and surveillance was taking place, so there's that. How could he downplay acts of obstruction of justice as products of the president being frustrated and angry, something he would never say to justify the thousands of crimes prosecuted every day that are the product of frustration and anger? Well, actually, James Comey, since you were incompetent at your job, you tried to rewrite the classification statutes to include intent as an element of the crime. You said Hillary Clinton didn't intend to expose classified material to public scrutiny, and therefore she was not guilty of the crime. Intent was not an element of the crime. You just rewrote the law to include it. You know where intent is an element of the crime? Obstruction of justice. So when William Barr goes to the president's state of mind, that's because intent is an element of the crime. If James Comey had two brain cells to rub together, it would help. We'll get some more of James Comey on this in just a second, but first, admit it, you think cybercrime is something that happens to other people. You might think that no one wants your data, or that hackers can't grab your passwords or credit card details. You would be wrong. Stealing data from unsuspecting people on public Wi-Fi is one of the simplest and cheapest ways for hackers to make money. When you leave your internet connection unencrypted, you may as well be writing your passwords and credit card numbers on a giant billboard for the rest of the world to see, which is why I decided to take action. To protect myself from cybercriminals, I use ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN secures and anonymizes your internet browsing by encrypting your data and hiding your public IP address. ExpressVPN has easy-to-use apps that run seamlessly in the background of your computer, phone, and tablet. Turning on ExpressVPN protection, that only takes one click. Using ExpressVPN, I can safely surf on public Wi-Fi without being snooped on or having my phone for less than $7 a month. You can get the same ExpressVPN protection that I have. ExpressVPN is rated the #1 VPN service by TechRadar and comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Protect your online activity today. Find out how you can get 3 months for free at expressvpn.com/Ben. That's expressvpn.com/Ben for 3 months free with a 1-year package. Visit expressvpn.com/Ben to learn more. Go check them out right now. It's a James Comey writing in the pages of the prestigious New York Times. He says, how could William Barr write and say things about the report by Robert Mueller, the special counsel, that were apparently so misleading they prompted written protest from the special counsel himself? No. As we mentioned yesterday on the show, the letter did not actually accuse William Barr of misstating the conclusions of the Mueller report. Basically, what Mueller wanted is for Barr to include all of the color commentary provided by Tom Musburger, or whatever. He wanted all the color commentary that was going to show how mean and cruel and nasty Trump was without being criminal. And Barr kept saying, guys, that's not my job. I'm not the nasty, mean, cruel police. I'm the police. It's my job to prosecute crimes if no crime takes place. Not my job to talk about my feelings about all of that. Nonetheless, James Comey, a guy who actually did go out and talk about all of the bad things Hillary Clinton had done and then exonerate her. Now he's ripping on Barr. Because how could Barr go before the Senate Judiciary Committee on Wednesday and downplay President Trump's attempts to fire Mr. Mueller before he completed his work? Well, he didn't downplay that. The one thing that he certainly did do was mention that this was not a crime, which is his job. So what happened to these people? I don't know for sure, said James Comey. People are complicated, so the answer is most likely complicated. Okay, thanks. Thanks, psychologist. Dr. Comey, we really appreciate your take on people are complicated. How could people be like this? I don't know. People are complicated. But I have some idea. From 4 months of working close to Mr. Trump and many more months of watching him shape others, amoral leaders have a way of revealing the character of those around them. Sometimes what they reveal is inspiring. For example, James Mattis resigned over a principle, a concept so alien to Mr. Trump it took days for the president to realize what had happened. You know who didn't resign over principle, as I recall? A tall gentleman, 6'9", had a weird, gawky gangly, tried to hide in the curtains one time when Trump was talking to him. He didn't quit, was fired. I see it. His name rhymes with Schmade Momi. I remember that. You remember that guy? I remember that guy. He says that William Barr and Rod Rosenstein, they've gone along with President Trump because President Trump just pressures people, and they fall prey to the pressure. He tried it with me. I didn't go along with it, but these people will. These people will. You can't say this out loud, but in a time of emergency with the nation led by a deeply unethical person, this will be your contribution, your personal sacrifice for America. You're smarter than Donald Trump. You're playing a long game for your country. You can pull it off where lesser leaders have failed and gotten fired by tweet. Of course, to stay, you must be seen as on his team, so you promised further compromise. Compromise. Okay, remember, James Comey did not quit. He was fired. Okay, so now we get to what the Democrats have actually been accusing Barr of. And this is bewildering, because what exactly are they accusing Barr of doing? They're mad at him that he won't talk with the lawyers. Maybe Barr should show up and talk with the lawyers just to show them that he can run circles around them, but there's no necessity for him to put his life in danger. The possibility of being imprisoned for a perjury trap set by Democrats, for example, or an attempt to subpoena him in violation of, for example, executive privilege. There are a lot of legal issues that arise whenever the Attorney General testifies before Congress, which is why they do have negotiation about setting the ground rules in the first place. But what exactly is Barr accused of doing? No one knows. He issued a 4-page letter. It accurately summarized the findings of the Mueller report. Even Mueller acknowledged that it accurately summarized the findings of the Mueller report. So here was William Barr testifying yesterday from the Senate Judiciary Committee, suggesting correctly that focusing on his 4-page synopsis when the entire report is available is really, really weird.
I understood you to say, and these are my words, not yours, the first concern that Mr. Mueller had, he felt like your letter wasn't nuanced enough.
Correct.
Okay. That problem's been solved, has it not?
Well, it was sort of solved by putting out the whole report.
Exactly.
Which was that's why I think this whole thing is sort of mind-bendingly bizarre, because I made clear from the beginning that I was putting out the report, as much of the report as I could.
Okay, so this, of course, is true. He put out as much of the report as he could. So why are they focusing on a synopsis that is obviated by the actual report? This is like William Barr writes a summary of a book. The book is publicly available, and you're mad at his summary even though you could just buy the book. Barr also mentioned, hey, guys, like the Mueller team didn't recommend charges.
I received
I
your
hate to break
signal.
it to you,
Thank
but the
you
Mueller team
for calling us
had the
down.
ability to
I
recommend
knew
charges
we
to me,
could
and
count
they
on
did not do so. They declined to do so. Here's Barr reminding Democrats of this fact.
Log or
The Mueller
recording.
team changed its mind on its conclusion.
Can you activate it?
Its conclusions as to what?
I'm
As
not
to
sure.
collusion,
It has
conspiracy,
some
not the
iconology similar
conspiracy,
to
not that
artifacts
I'm
found
aware
in
of.
the Isha Forest case.
So
This symbol in particular.
the decision not to bring an indictment against the president for collusion conspiracy with Russia has not changed.
No, it hasn't.
And the conclusion not to bring an indictment against the president for obstruction of justice
An
has
iconian
not
gateway?
changed.
No.
Yes.
Okay, so that has not changed. None of that has changed. And then people on the left were saying, well, maybe the reason that Mueller didn't prosecute is because of the Office of Legal Counsel opinion that suggested that the president could not be prosecuted for obstruction of justice. And Barr said, nope, I talked to Mueller. Remember, Barr's under oath. He said, I talked to Mueller 3 separate times. And Mueller said he didn't decline to prosecute because of the OLC opinion. He declined to prosecute because the evidence was not clear one way or the other.
Special Counsel Mueller stated 3 times to us in that meeting in response to our questioning that he emphatically was not saying that but for the OLC opinion, he would have
Is that
found
iconian
obstruction.
running through the gateway?
He said that in the future, the facts of a case against the president might be such that a special counsel would recommend abandoning the OLC opinion, but this is not such a case. We did not
Those look like
understand
the same creatures
exactly
we saw with the
why the
iconian.
special counsel was not reaching a decision. And when we pressed him on it, he said that his team was still formulating the explanation.
Looks like
Okay, so in other words,
some kind of
Mueller
machinery up the
explicitly said to
gateway.
Barr, there's an OLC opinion. If we thought the fact pattern overcame the OLC opinion, we would just recommend the overturn of the OLC opinion.
I think they're trying to power the gateway.
The real explanation is that Mueller knew he didn't have enough to charge here. He didn't want to exonerate President Trump. So
How
instead,
old are those
Mueller
recordings?
justified in public life all of the bad stuff
This
about him.
can't be right.
Well,
The first
well,
one seems to be
washing his hands of the whole thing. As I
200,000
said
years
yesterday,
old.
Mueller did
The
not
second
have
one
the
was
intellectual
recorded
fortitude to
50,000
simply
years
overturn
after
an
that.
obstruction of justice charge in order to
And were
get the
those
legal
things
document.
iconians?
Instead, he took
We have a lot of research to do before any of those questions can be answered. This gate is clearly inoperable. Do you believe it could be reactivated?
With time, yes, I believe so. By the elements. Do you know what this means?
It means we have a chance to learn about one of the galaxy's most feared and ancient races. We couldn't have done any of this without you. As amazing as this discovery is, it pales in comparison to what you've done for me and my people. I could never fully or properly express my gratitude for everything you've accomplished since coming to New Romulus. Because of you, the Romulans and Remans truly have a chance at starting a new life. You've helped secure our new home and given us a fighting chance at survival. There are no words that will ever fully express my gratitude. Information discovered from researching this gate will be shared, of course. Some people would be opposed to the releasing of secrets such as these. But time and time again, you have proven that we can all work together for a brighter future and for a better Romulus. I thank you.
It was Mueller not protesting that Barr had been dishonest in his letter, but protesting that Barr hadn't sufficiently captured his mood when he wrote the Mueller report. So Barr is correct in this characterization.
This letter was an extraordinary act. A career prosecutor rebuking the Attorney General of the United States, memorializing it in writing. I don't consider Bob at this stage a career prosecutor. He's had a career as a prosecutor. Well, he's a very eminent. He was the head of the FBI for 12